G'day, it's Rob here again. Well, in a previous video that I did, you would have seen where I bought a couple of electric drills. I got two of them, a big hammer drill and like a demolition drill, and this Atlas Copco industrial drill with all the fully featured, you know, got everything, this thing. I got the two of them for, I think it was $25. I mean, I didn't really need another big drill because I've got quite a few drills of various sizes, putting it mildly. And, you know, well, you can never have too many power tools, I suppose, and if they're cheap, well, all well and good. And when I got this, it was a bit of a mystery machine because while the demolition drill was in as new condition, this one is obviously quite scuffed up. You know, it's been floating around in someone's toolbox for a very long time. But the funny thing is, when you look at it closely, it's done very, very little work. I mean, look at the fan. The fan is, if you can see in there, the fan is quite clean. That's a good indicator if it's done a lot of work. It's hard to clean those, you know, so yeah, check a fan. If it's worked in a dusty environment too, well, that's bad news for power tools because it stuffs up the bearings. And yeah, so clean fan. The actual chuck on this is the reason I bought it, because it's a Rome chuck. Now these are expensive, high quality chucks, keyless. I'm not a big fan of keyless chucks, but considering I'm paying like $12 for this and I get a $100 chuck, which is basically unused, you know, it's done virtually no work. The knife edges are like brand new, you know, so I think, this is a bit strange, you know, brand chuck that's never been used, no dirt in the motor side of things. Look at the commutator brushes and they are barely worn. So the whole thing is, you know, why has this drill just languished in someone's toolbox, probably down the bottom of the toolbox with everything piled on top, and never been used? You know, we're talking about a very, very expensive drill here. Anyway, I got it, brought it home, and well, I found out pretty quickly why the drill was so cheap. I mean, the guy that sold it to me, I'd bought stuff from him before, and he said it worked, and I trusted him, and it did. It works perfectly, absolutely perfectly, nothing wrong with it whatsoever. But why wasn't it used? Well, the reason it wasn't used is because this $100 chuck, Rome chuck, which is supposed to be good and looks good, is actually a pig of a thing to use. Now, the problem with this particular one is it's got what they call ratchet lock on it, and it should be called rat shit lock because it's a terrible thing. When you tighten the chuck up, you can hear that ratchet locking mechanism working, and as the jaws come out, it won't go back. The idea is that the ratchet mechanism stops it unscrewing. But in actual fact, it's a crappy setup because you can't, with gloves on particularly, you can't turn the collar very easily, if at all, to unlock the chuck. And even with bare hands, you know, it's hard to grip it. It's as stiff as blazes. You can't turn it off and leave it off. So, you know, it finishes up, you screw the chuck up on a drill, and then you can't get the damn thing undone, you know, without a lot of rooting around. It's bad, it's terrible, it's horrible. And that's why this has never been used, in my estimation, because the guy that had it for me got so pissed off with it. So, yeah, the story is, okay, from then on, after I got it, it's sat in the cupboard since I did the video, basically, unused. And it's a great drill. It's really got all the feet, it's got everything. It's great. So I thought, yesterday I thought, I'm sick of this drill and being the way, not being used. I'll go and buy another chuck for it. And this is the 13mm Rome chuck. 13mm is a good size, you know, it'll take up to 1/2 inch and go right down to the tiny stuff, you know. You put anything bigger on, then you can't grip the tiny stuff. So yeah, 13mm is a good size. I wanted another 13mm chuck. So I went to rang up my local hardware store. Well, power tool man who I've dealt with for a very long time, who does rebuilding and servicing of all sorts of brand name stuff. They sell all the big brands, no rubbish, all industrial or semi-industrial grade. And I rang him up and said, have you got 13 mil chuck in the brand? I gave the brand, and he went up and checked and said, yep, we got them. I said, how much? He said, $34. And I said, okay, I'll come down and get one. So, what did I buy? Well, I'll show you. I bought a Metabo keyed chuck, and I know Metabo's got a very good name for their gear, and believe it or not, it's actually made in Germany. You can still buy a chuck made in Germany for under $35. This costs $34 for a keyed chuck. It's half inch, 20 UNF, 1.5 to 13 mil, a good size. And yeah, I bought that, $34. Okay, how do I know this is a good chuck? Well, the reason I know this is a good chuck because I've bought two of them previously, and one of them been going for at least 10 years, and it's still working perfectly. There's a little story that goes with this, which I'll tell you. But first of all, I'll show you what's in the box. What's in the box is the chuck, a key, which is a good size key. The rack on this is, which way do I go with this? Yeah, that way. Really good heavy one, it's not wimpy, great setup. And you get a locking bolt for reversible drills if you've got that feature, if there is provision for one. All of my 3 reversible drills don't have this, but I mean, most of the time you're just backing out drills normally anyway, so there's not a lot of load, and I've never had a chuck unscrew without one anyway. So, there is the stuff. And the reason I actually went for Metabo is because years ago my go-to drill, which is an AEG, 500 watt AEG, the chuck on that, which was a Jacobs chuck, finally wore out after 10 years use, I'd say at least. The drill's at least 25 years old, and I bought it new. And I bought a Chinese chuck. Now, Chinese make some good stuff and they make some rubbish, and this is one of those chucks that you get unbranded in a blister pack down your local hardware store, and it was $30, I remember. And I said to the woman at the time, you know, are these any, Mark Heavy Duty, you know, I said to the woman at the time, these any good? Oh, well, we've never had any come back, sir. Oh, okay. So I bought one and put it on my AEG, and after the warranty ran out, very shortly after the warranty ran out, it stopped gripping drills, and I had a look, and the blade edges, the knife edges on the jaws had all just disappeared. They were flat. And, well, it was obviously made out of some sort of Chinese cheese, and it wasn't very good cheese either. So anyway, to cut a long story short, I was pretty pissed off with that, and I vowed never ever again to buy a Chinese drill chuck. Chinese lathe chucks are a different kettle of fish, and I mean, I might be a bit hard here because you can get, you know, maybe there are good Chinese chucks out there, but I'm just not going to take the chance again. I see the same looking chuck being sold everywhere, and I wouldn't touch them with a barge pole, not after that. So, yep, lathe chucks. I've got 2 Chinese lathe chucks, an original and an aftermarket one. They're both excellent, done a huge amount of work, good as the day I bought them, made out of good hard material. Then I bought that Fuerda rubbishy chuck made in China, when it was the greatest piece of rubbish I've ever come across. You know, a scroll chuck, looked fantastic. Didn't last a day, didn't last half a day, and it was jumping the teeth in the scroll. I mean, absolute rubbish, and it wasn't cheap. So, you know, it's a gamble with this stuff. So that's why I'm putting up this video, to show you, yes, if you want a drill chuck and you want a good one, it's not going to just shit itself in no time at all. It'll last you. Get a Metabo. Alright, well here's the super little AEG. I mean, this is my go-to drill. I love this drill. This is a fantastic drill. It's got everything I want on it, and it's powerful for its size, it's compact, it's brilliant. You can use it all day, it's ergonomically fantastic. I love it, you know, and I can run it off my small generator out in the field. It's brilliant. And as you can see, the chuck has done, that's 10 years use. It's done a lot of work. And the jaws are still perfect. The blade edges are excellent. If you look at the thing, it's scuffed up where it's come in close on stuff. You know, it's quite quite a wear mark on it there. I was doing something there. But actually, as far as the keyholes are concerned, they're still pretty round. There's a bit of scuffing on the edge there from the end of the key where it's been pulled up. But basically, the key still fits good and snug. It's great, you know, it's a fantastic chuck. And yeah, once again, when I bought this chuck, and I asked the guy, you know, at the tool joint, have you got a decent chuck that won't cost an arm and a leg? And he said, well, we recommend this. He said, this is the chuck. Metabo chucks are what we fit to all of the drills that come in for rebuilding and servicing and need new chucks. He said, we always put Metabos on. The guys take them away and they never come back. They're quite satisfied. There's no returns on them. And he said the other one we recommend is Milwaukee. He said Milwaukee also make a good chuck. Now, I haven't had any experience with Milwaukee chucks. I've never bought one. I didn't ask how much they were. $34 for this I thought was pretty damn reasonable. You know, if you're going to put a chuck on a drill you really like, and it's a good quality drill, you know, I mean, sure, you can buy cheap tools and then wear them out and throw them away and buy another one, if that's your style. It's not my style. I like to have good stuff and know it's going to bloody do the job. So anyway, there you go. Oh yeah, one other drill. Right, here's the other one, which is a Makita, which has also got one of these chucks on it. Why, and this one's not a terribly old drill. Now, why did I have to put a brand new chuck on a Makita drill that's probably, I don't know, it's probably this is probably 5 or 6, 7 years old now. But within 18 months, the chuck on the Makita crapped out. I've got a lot of Makita and I always thought it's pretty good stuff. And anyway, well, what happened was I bought this Makita on special. It was a display model. And, you know, the chuck on it, which was an unbranded, but quite well-made chuck, well, it looked good and it was hard material, it always felt notchy, always felt gritty. You know, we'd sort of unscrew it and it would catch, and then you'd go forward and come back and it would let go, and thought, oh, it must be a burr in there or something. So I kept going with it. I never took it back under warranty, and of course, when it got a couple of months out of warranty, it locked up. It's totally seized, the chuck totally seized up. So I went back and, of course, you know, how do I stand with a warranty? Nah, Makita, nah, not it, nah, go away. We won't touch it. Once it's out of warranty, that's it. So that was the Makita policy. The shop was just exercising what Makita wanted them to do, so no returns. And it was the first first failure I've ever had on a Makita product, which it was disappointed me, but you know, I suppose they got a policy and they stick with it. But it did sort of put a bit of a dampener on my Makita enthusiasm. And interestingly, I opened that chuck up to see what was wrong with it. It was a pressed together chuck, like I think this one is as well. And I cracked it open with the angle grinder, and what had happened was the scroll thread inside had a chunk cracked out of it in the actual thread, where when they pressed it together, something had gone wrong. They'd overtaxed or overstressed something, and it actually cracked a section of the thread totally out of the circumference. So what was happening was, as you screwed it up, this was floating around inside, and you know, it would catch, and you'd have to sort of rock the thing, and then it would go. And eventually it just seized up totally and utterly, and it was cactus. So that went in the rubbish bin. But But anyway, that was the story of the Makita. But as you can see, yeah, you know, they've all got the Metabo chuck, and I can only say, yeah, don't be afraid to buy one of these. These are really, really good. These are not expensive, and yeah, still made in Germany. Okay, well, that's it from me. I hope you found that interesting. I just like to give a heads up on stuff that I can trust, you know. I hate to see people buy stuff and it turns out to be rubbish, and there is a lot of rubbish around these days. And if I can help out, you know, steer people in the right direction, I'm always pleased to do it. So, yeah, that's it from me. Yeah, see you next time. Cheers.